Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you currently aware that we are exploring various products and services within GCP, and in last few videos we have taken a high level overview about what all different kind of a category of the products that are present in within GCP. And in the last tutorial we have seen how to create the table using BQ APIs using Python language. But you know what, there are multiple ways in which you can interact with BigQuery. You can interact with BigQuery using the BQ console. You can write SQL queries to interact with the BigQueries. You can use APIs. There are lots of third-party APIs that are being exposed by GCP. Like you can connect to BigQuery using Python, you can connect to BigQuery using Java, various other languages as well, like C hash, Ruby, as I mentioned, Python, Java, and there are lots of ways, right? The first and foremost, the easiest way to access and interact with BigQuery is using the BigQuery console, as you can see on the screen. And we are going to just I'm gonna give you some kind of overview about how this particular console looks like, and basically where are the options to create the dataset in BigQuery, create the tables in BigQuery, how to check the details, and those kinds of things using BigQ console, right? So let's first of all see how to come to this particular console. Let's say you are on some different page within GCP console, and if you wanted to go to BigQuery, then you have to search BigQuery in this particular search box that is already present. So I'm just gonna click that, and this is the initial BigQuery Studio. Okay, you call it as BigQuery Studio, which is kind of a very easy way to interact with the BigQuery. Comes in front of you, and you just can see various things here. Like this is my project. This particular project, it creates the default project with your project ID, right? So this is your project, and then if you expand this more, then you have the data set which I have created for some of my previous tutorials here, and inside that we have some table as well. Okay, but ignoring that for now, and we will see from scratch how to create the dataset and corresponding table within the dataset on BigQuery or using BigQuery Studio. Yeah? So if just to create, like I'll show you how to create the dataset first. Yeah, so just refer to this project, click on these three vertical dots, and you will see an option to create the dataset here. Just click this, give the name of the dataset that you wanted to do. So for example, let's say dataset using BigQuery Studio. Yeah, so you can give any name. You just have to make sure that it is just a combination of letters, numbers, and underscores. So probably the hyphens are not allowed, so I am removing the hyphens and giving underscored instead of hyphen. Then you have to specify the location type, in which region, in which zone you want to create this particular BigQuery dataset, right? So basically I'm gonna select the region where I have created most of my products or services which I am trying to use here, Europe West to London. But feel free to use from wherever you are creating your project or GCP resources a nearer zone or region for your services, because that assures you the quick connectivity and less latency in terms of data operations. So for me it is Europe West 2, because this is the location which is nearer to me. So rest of the option, let's keep it default, and you just click on create dataset. So this way it will be creating this particular dataset. As you can see here, it has created the dataset underscore BQ underscore studio dataset for us. Yeah, so closing this, if I expand this dataset, then since it is a newly fresh created dataset, there are no tables in it. To create the tables in a particular data set, what you can do is again click on this three vertical dots which are besides your newly created data set, and you should be able to see the option to create the table in this data set. Yeah, so click on create table. Select what kind of table you wanted to create. If you just want to create a table without any data inside that table, then you will go with the create table from empty table. But there are lots of other option GCP gives you, that if you want to create a table and load data from some GCS location, or some other buckets that where your data is present, then you can explore these options. Like for example, you have uploaded one CSV in your Google Cloud bucket, and you wanted to load the data from that CSV into this table that you are trying to create now. Then you can go ahead and select this Google Cloud storage, and then here you can upload the file from which you want to load the data, and then correspondingly rest of the options you will have to configure, like what is the file format of that source file and whatnot. For now, we are just going to see how to create an empty table. So I'm just going ahead with the empty table creation. This is the project in which I wanted to create the table. This is the data set where I wanted to create the table, and here I can give the table name, right? So I'll just name it as new table. Yeah, and then there are two types of table that you can create in BigQuery. One is native table and another one is external table. Okay, so we are just going ahead with the native table. When you say table, the most important part of that table is what kind of schema it is going to take. Yeah, so you just click on this to add columns into your table. Click on this plus, keep on adding name of the column, what data type you wanted to have, right? So let me just do it like maybe ID. I wanted to have it as an integer. Now mode, this is again one of the parameter that is very important. If you want to allow null values, empty values inside this particular column, then you can keep the mode as nullable. But if you don't want a null value or a blank value into that particular column, then make sure you select the mode as required. Yeah, so most of the times IDs are not nullable, that's why I'm setting this particular mode as required. And maybe some general field, like for example common field 1, I wanted to have it as string, and this can be nullable, so I'm just setting the mode as nullable here, right? I'll just add maybe one more column field, let's say 2. I wanted to have it as, let's say, maybe I'll make it as, let's say, float. I'm okay with null values in this. Let's say third one as create date. I wanted to have it as a date. So there are lots of data types as well that BigQuery gives you. So based on your use case, you can select which data type you wanted to have for this column. Here I'll select date. I don't want it to be nullable. I wanted to have the date as a compulsory mandatory parameter. So I'm making the mode as required, and then that's it. Partitioning, you can partition the BigQuery tables, but we are going to visit the partitioning strategy, clustering strategy in some other video. So for now I'm skipping this, and then just click on create table. Yeah, so your new underscore table is created inside the dataset underscore BQ underscore studio. If you just click on this, then it will show you whatever the table specific schema. There are some more details that you can see here. So first of all, taking a look at the schema part, you have ID common field 1, common field 2, create date. These are the 4 columns or fields that you have created with their data types that we have given while the creation was happening. Mode also is been presented here. If you go to the details, then it will give you the information like what is the table ID, when it was created. You can also set the table expiration. where we have not set anything currently, that's why it is never. In which region you have created your table, it will display it here, and some of the storage related information. But since we don't have any data inside the new underscore table, it is everything is 0, as you can see here. Everything from the data storage perspective is pointing to 0 bytes. If you start loading the data into the table, then obviously we'll start seeing some of the bytes under storage info tab. Okay, so this is about how we can interact with BigQuery Studio, how we can create the data set using BigQuery Studio, and how we can create the tables. Okay, so I hope you understood, you got the overview of BigQuery Studio. Now you will be able to create the datasets and tables using BigQuery Studio in your project. Thank you guys, thanks for watching this tutorial. I'll see you in the next one.